Olá, boa tarde a todos. Então, cá estamos nós. Já não nos víamos há uns tempos. Eu estou muito feliz por estar aqui. Já assim a precisar de voltar a reconhecer este movimento, de estarmos ao vivo e de trazer toda uma magia às nossas conversas que trazem, que nos enriquecem tanto. Hoje não é um diálogo de medicina já conhecido como os diálogos de medicinas que haviam por semana, mas é sim um diálogo de medicina especial, um diálogo de medicina extra, que convida duas pessoas para estar aqui comigo e que vem falar de um trabalho muito especial e muito bonito que irá acontecer no início do mês de março. E para falarmos sobre este tema, teremos de falar em inglês, porque a pessoa que irá estar ao serviço deste trabalho como facilitadora, ela fala inglês, ela é californiana, é a Nicola, e, e vamos ter também o Fábio Ramuni, que estará presente por estar a acompanhar não só como designer do processo, do projeto, deste retiro, mas também como, digamos, um coração que está a doar muito da sua fé e da sua atenção a este processo, não só por ser o meu companheiro de vida, mas também por haver uma sintonia muito própria com o trabalho e com a energia que ele traz ao mundo. Então vamos ouvir os dois, vamos trazer-nos aqui a um diálogo para que todos possam conhecer um pouco deste trabalho. Ao longo do processo e do mês, nós teremos este live disponível no Instagram, no Mural de Reis de Portugal, e assim todos poderão saber, sempre que sentirem, do que é que se trata este trabalho, de uma forma mais personalizada. Então eu vou chamar o Fábio e a Nicola. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Here we are.
Welcome, Nicola.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello, Fabio.
Hello, Nicola. Nice to see you.
Yes.
So we are together here today. It's special because we are in the second day of the new year, Tiger year, of this new cycle, and it's a good moment to call the spirits to help us to co-create this beautiful work that you will open, Nicola. And we are here to talk about that, to talk about this beautiful work that you will do with Reis de Portugal and with our presence, me and Fabio, helping you and giving you everything that you need to feel safe to put this message in the world. So because we believe in your message. So I will ask in the first place to make a 1 minute of silence if it's possible, and we will begin a intuitive dialogue about this. Okay?
Yes.
And thank you so much for your presence, Fabio and Nicola.
And I want to thank you. And it's so special that you invited me, Fabio and Sarah, and everyone who's listening right now. Thank you for coming.
Okay, so 1 minute of connection, and I will call us again. Okay. And we open our eyes when we feel that is the moment. And in this, in the beginning of this conversation, I will ask to put, if we can put our hearts in the center. So we will need to express what we are feeling now and how we are today. And you can you can begin, Nicola, if you want.
Well, I'm very happy to be here and to be with all of you. And I hear the sirens going on right now, the fire sirens. It's perfect. Fire stuff. Yeah, my heart is very open, and I'm actually so delighted. I'm touched to bring this to Portugal because it already lives in Portugal, this fire of love that Mary Magdalene and Yeshua lived. It's already in the land, and I'm grateful.
Okay, thank you so much, Nicola. Fabio?
Hello, hello, Nicola.
Hello, Fabio.
I feel very happy to be here with you today and to have this opportunity again to share about these matters that ignite us so much. And I wish this will be a beautiful conversation. We are touched with a lot of wisdom to share. And myself, I feel very silent this morning, and it's a great pleasure to share this moment with you. And thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, Fabio. So, I'm feeling very active and very happy to open this chapter with you, Nicola, because I'm feeling that that will not be just one thing that we will make together, because this message about love and this message about the truth of the element that we are touching so much with love, that is fire. I think this is a very important message that you collect many years in your experience and in your path. So I'm very happy to open this, and of course, because Reis Portugal is always about healing my heart, healing my life. I create this project because of that, and stay here with you and with my partner, doing this work about love, about truth, about connection between feminine and masculine. For me, it's a beautiful moment in my life. And thank you for being the doula of this. So in the first place, because we are friends and we spend time together, not only in this environment of work, we share moments of friendship. I want to share with people how you come to Portugal, and why you decide to put your energy in this land.
You want me to share a little bit?
Yes, please.
Well, first of all, thank you, Fabio and Sarah, for sharing how you are today. And you bring the perfect combination of energies in the silence and the action, the fire. So both is needed, you know? And your dedication to the heart, to the healing of the heart and the truth and love. So, and the uniting of the feminine and masculine in a healthy way. And so thank you, because I am not native of Portugal. I'm originally from Germany, but I have lived most of my life. I've traveled all around the world, but I've lived most of it in California. So I heard at some point in California a calling to come back to Europe, to bring the gifts to, my home place, my motherland, but also the lands of Europe. And at some point, I was traveling around and teaching in every country. I did place to I was called to Portugal. But when I came to Portugal, something happened for me, especially when I landed in Sintra. I stepped out of the train and I started crying because I knew I'm home. It's my land, it's my place, and it's also my people that I have not yet met. But it felt like this is the home of the Grail, port to the Grail. The meaning, the finding of the Grail, and the longer I'm here, the more I discover that much of the ancient way of love is already in the land, has already been brought from the Templars and from the Cathars and the Celtic people, of a message and a teaching that is as ancient as the sea itself. And that is in the core of our heart, or as the Gnostic tradition calls it, the nous. It's from the ruach, the breath, the holy breath. It lands it's activated in our heart. And that's what you're feeling, and that's what you're sensing and speaking to. So I had not planned to teach in Portugal because I teach all around the world, and I just thought it would be a very good home for me, and it is. And I left first to live close to Sarah, next door, which was perfect in the pandemic. And so we danced on the balcony and the terrace together when it was too much of being locked down. And we actually did rituals at the little river in front of the house. So I fondly remember that. It was perfect that we connected right in the beginning when I landed. And I really appreciate deeply the work you're doing for, going to the roots and bringing forth what's in the root, the richness of this land, of this port to the Grail, Portugal. So thank you.
Thank you, Nicola. And Fabio, you travel a lot in these last 5 years. And why you decide to return to this land, to Portugal? Because I feel that is important to speak a little bit about our connection with the land before we talk about the message that we are creating together with the help of Nicola. So why Portugal is a place of returning for you?
Well, as you said, I've been in a few countries in the past 5 years, and actually I was doing inner journey, and I was concentrating my energies inside, so something could blossom in my consciousness. And after lots of practice and meditation, I came to a point that I felt that the journey I was doing outside and inside has come to an end, and which means something new was beginning. And it was very clear for me that it was the time to return to Portugal. And it is interesting that it is curious that when I feel that I'm home inside, when I came in touch with my spiritual heart, and when I felt most comfortably sitting there, I felt I want to go home. I want to go to Portugal. I don't want to be abroad anymore. I'm a Portuguese man, and I am a simple man that wants to live among the other people that are like him. I don't want to be apart from people, and especially I don't want to be apart from my people and from the place where we speak this beautiful language that we speak, and which I believe is a place that has in its earth a lot of it's very profound, and there is a lot of deep wisdom to rescue here, to give birth to, and I think we are responsible for doing that. We are it's for the spiritual people of this place. It is our duty to do this, to give birth to this. So I think we must align our spiritual discovery with the specific knowledge that is hidden on this earth, and it is our task both to find our heart as spirit, but also to find the heart of this place, which is full of beauty. And so I'm back for this.
Thank
to join
God.
you, to join all of these wonderful Portuguese warriors of the spirit.
Yes, thank you, Fabi. It's very important what you are saying about the wisdom of this land, and it's why we are creating this possibility to learn with Nicola about this message about love. And the question is, Nicola, why you feel that this work is born in here in Portugal? Because I know that you are doing this work and you are creating you are sending and putting this message in another countries of Europe, but here in Portugal, why the message is so important?
It's right at the beginning of our meeting, when we sat together, my tears started coming because I was feeling so, not just in my, I was feeling so touched, but also I could feel all the beings that have labored on this land in Portugal to bring the message, because it was the teachings, because they were all hunted in other countries. And they came, I think it was the king and the queen invited the Templars to come, and also the Cathars who there was genocide happening in southern France where Maria Madalena lived and where she spread the teaching. And later, all the Cathars were murdered by the king of France Catholic Church. So the true teachings, the true message, and what Yeshua Magdalena lived was actually hunted down everywhere. And Portugal was the only country that said, yes, we want you. Yes, we welcome this, and we give you the land to plant the seeds. And so they did. And that is why Portugal has been a welcoming home for the wisdom of the heart and of this path. And it is like it has its roots. The roots are already here. And now I feel it's time to awaken it and to bring it to flourishing, because I feel like Portugal is on the verge of having a huge, huge revolution of the spirit here. Even though, California is way ahead, but there's something about the land here, because the people that were hunted down came here and were allowed to flourish and live that. They live this in communities, they live this, and you can feel it in Sintra where we live. Yeah, the magic is so alive. And that's what I feel. We need to activate that, and we actually need to come together to learn the way and also really practice it in our daily life.
Yes, in a simple way of sharing something about Portugal, I can say that we are in a specific point in the world, energetic point. That the name is Portugal, the land that represents that point. We are creating a message to the world, and I'm feeling in my heart, and I'm studying about this, not with all knowledge that we are reading on the books, but actually with the connection with the spirit, with conversations with people that love to understand more where is the chakras of the world. And Portugal have a mission, not a mission that put us in an ego place or in a superior position, but actually we had something because of this energy that we feel here, and people when travel, people feel that when people are connected and feel this because of this specific information that we are in a light point in the world that send a message to the world. I want to know, Nicola, and after that Fabio, why we need to receive a refresh wisdom about love, and why we need to know more about this connection between Mary Magdalene and Yeshua.
Beautiful
Here,
question.
yes.
Yeah, beautiful question. And before I go into it, I want to just acknowledge all the people who send hearts all the time. And I'm like, yes, the Portuguese people are very much with the heart, and that is why the wisdom can actually much more blossom here, I think. So I feel like the question you're asking about why, I would even go further into, I feel like the land, the people are ready here. And there is a great mission with prepared in the land. Everything, it's already here. And it's prepared in the people, because they're much more in there. I feel much more in their heart. So now the deeper teachings can actually land, and not just from the book, but really how to learn how we relate with each other. Because that is what Mary Magdalene and Yeshua actually brought. It wasn't the New Age love and light. It was something far more holy but real. It was the union between human and divine. And it was the union between earth and heaven and feminine and masculine. And that requires, of course, to learn how we do that. How do we talk with each other? How do we relate with each other when it's sometimes really difficult? I mean, everyone here has experienced challenges in relationship. We can't just put a blanket of pink flowers and say, I love you, and yet you are angry. You know, we have to be real. And Mary Magdalene and Yeshua lived a love, a great love, a love that embraced everything, that was able to meet everything. And this whole message and this whole teaching and all the practices, they were covered over because it was so revolutionary what they brought and what they lived. And unfortunately, the church and many of the New Age teachings even cover it still over. But the truth we can feel is here, is in the fire, is in the land. It's not just, it's a soft love and it's a fierce love that can stand, like Fabio said, the warrior, you know. It was Mary Magdalene who, when Joshua hung on the cross, he did the hard part. He stayed with his suffering. She stayed connected, constantly connected. She felt it all what he felt. That requires an enormous love. She was staying even when she was pregnant. She had, they had it. All these things were covered over, that they actually were married, that they had also a sexual relationship. It was cut out because it didn't fit the patriarchy. And Joshua had Mary Magdalene as his equal. She was teaching with him. She was teaching him as much as he was teaching her. And they had both, they incarnated love in the deepest way, also through their human bodies and through their day-to-day life. That life was not easy where they lived. They were not always celebrated, and they were not always in the, oh, I'll always love you. They had difficulties. And there is a way, and that's called the sacred union, the path of love, how we walk through that so that we are able to meet everything that appears in life, that appears with our partner, that appears within ourselves, and like the tower of strength. That's what the name Magdalena means. But it also means he had a fire. He was a full-fleshed man who actually he had passion, and so did he. So I imagine they also must have fights with each other, because if you take two fires, it can get intense. But it was how they walked through it, how they tended to the fire, how they united the fire, so it would serve love itself. And there's something dangerous about it, what they brought. That's why the people who followed this path were killed, were hunted down, were oppressed. Because there's something completely liberating and revolutionary in this path. That is right now, it's right for us to say, yes, we are going to we walk this path together. We learn this path together and the way. So there's also skills we need to learn and revive this, because it does bring, like I said, it does bring heaven and earth together. It does heal the wounds of the feminine and the masculine, because it's that's where the major, challenge is, to go right in, to meet the wounds and liberate ourselves through that. And yes, I could, as you see, I could talk on and on. And then I would take you all and dump you. And then, the practices, I can't wait for everyone to join for the retreat, but I don't want to take over the entire space right now.
No, don't worry, because we need to listen about this, and it's very important. And I have another question, but before that, I will love to ask Fabio. He has a representation of masculine here in this conversation, but in this path of understanding the union between feminine and masculine. Can you share with us why you are feeling connected to this work, and why for you it's important to understand and know better this story, and actually create conditions to involve these tools in your daily life?
Yes. So I think that what is asked from us as a collective, as a humanity, and in our spiritual life as humanity nowadays, is that the spiritual realization becomes something common. It's not something anymore of to be understood as a very high, and that you need to be away from human life to get it or to live it. No, it's quite simple. It's not, and it shouldn't be understood anymore as a very difficult and very difficult to approach and to get it. And to there are many ideas that I think they start to be from the past. I don't feel anymore that this is the task for us as humanity, to get away from human daily life, to understand and to realize it. And of course, these, for example, in my case, I feel this is a little bit our path, a little bit all of us is, first we are deeply in this human daily life, and we are lost in it. And then we start to search for something more that give us answers, and we get deeply in spiritual path, in spiritual life, and we forget completely human life. But it comes a moment that they are both incomplete, and you feel that you are only complete when you merge them. And this happens in this life and in relationship with everybody. And the deeper relationship of all is the relationship we have with our partner, because we are so close. And it's very challenging to be so close to somebody, anybody, but especially when you represent the masculine characteristics and wants, as Nicola said, and the feminine representing the feminine wants of all humanity. And when this comes together, there is a work to do. And this work, in fact, this work is the work that happens inside. In my point of view, it is the work that happens inside each individual, because inside each individual there is the quality, the masculine quality and the feminine quality. And as you understand and as you discern which one is, as you discern it inside of you, you start to balance it. And as you balance it, there is a harmony between these. And so this is the first step, in my opinion. This is the first step, to understand very well what is the masculine side inside of me, and what is the feminine side, and to have them in them in a beautiful relationship and harmony. And you need to understand that to understand how it happens then outside. So this is the second stage, how you relate outside with because in a relationship it will happen that one will represent the role of the masculine and the other will represent the role of the feminine a little bit more, of course. They represent both, but this will happen naturally because it's how life goes on with these polarities. And then you need to understand how will you represent this masculine consciousness, and how will you represent this feminine dynamic. And
can I say?
Yes, please.
Yes, you described this really beautifully, Fabio. And there is a step that is in between that has also to do with it's not just inside, it's actually we're outside. We have woman, men in body, and there is a long history of a patriarchy that's been gone upside down, where we have learned to actually live in a way and relate in a way that is so harmful, that causes so much destruction for our planet, for each other. So there has to be a step where actually women and men in the body, we heal the wounds between each other. We heal each other in a way that is receiving the pain and of the love to that.
Exactly.
And that stage has to happen also in the outer, and not just in our personal relationships, but in the collective. And we will do some of that, a beautiful deep ritual that's very I won't tell you too much about it, but to tease the people and say, come, this is very special, because it cannot happen in a forced way. It has to happen with bringing for allowing the deeper wounds of the feminine and of the masculine to actually be heard, to be met and embraced outside, because there is no outside in the deeper path. There is no outside and inside. Know that. At the same time, we have to play it outside, because the structure that is in the world present to this day, we are all bound by it. We are all shackled by it, and to liberate it and this false way, we have to upheave it and learn then to meet each other and the rawness of our hearts, because in the rawness of our vulnerability, that is the gateway into our divinity, and to accept, yes, we are in a male and a female body, so we carry the energy of the feminine, and we carry them. And you are more masculine, you are in a male body. So, of course, you carry more of the masculine. And we are in a female body, we bleed and we give birth to babies. A man doesn't do that. And there is a certain way that is where we can make bridge to understand each other in a deeper way, where we celebrate the differences also that are in this form. And I think, the feminine, the sacred feminine is celebrating form. She is form. The masculine is more the transcendence, the ultimate. So we will dance with this, but I think it has to happen that we embrace those wounds as well and love each other through that.
Muito bem, muito bem. So I think in my point of view, to just put something on the top of this beautiful cake that we are cooking here. I think for me, in my personal life, I'm discovering that a truth relationship, when we decide to share moments and the same house, the same lives, the same values, the same ethical thoughts about life, when we decide to share and work about that together with another person, I think it's the most important spiritual work that we can do. And sometimes we are just putting our energy in activities, spiritual activities outside of our daily lives, and we have here a possibility with another person to co-create a very deep and profound and special, magical, spiritual and material journey with another person. And actually, me and Fabio, we are creating something by the root, as like a matrix, something that you can create from the roots. A relationship needs to be something like a root that in the during the past we can just view a beautiful tree growing, but we need to work knowing that we need to be a root together and to work in this place of the root, in the roots. We need to have the needs and the wish to open our heart to this path of spiritual knowledge, to spiritual understanding about why people need to work a lot together to stay together. And it's why we are here. It's why we need to understand better this message of Mary Magdalene and Yeshua. And I have two questions before we begin to close our dialogue to you, Nicola, and if you want, of course, Fabio, to put your vision and in the first question. So the first question is if you feel, Nicola, and if you feel, Fabio, that this work can open the heart to people that have relationships with the same gender. Yes. And the second question is what kind of tools people can actually bring to their lives with the activities that we will do.
So these are good questions, because what you just shared, if you have, and that is very powerful to use it as a spiritual path of awakening. And at the same time, people don't need, or they can have the same sex, or they can have no relationship with an intimate partner. This is not just about a partnership. That's just to say that it's not just about opposite sex. This is about a much deeper path and way where we can this becomes a way of living in the world, and the practices are there where we create a culture to relate to each other in a far more conscious way, where where you will learn how to deal with things that arise in any relationship, and to use that as of a way ever deeper to meet each other in the truth, but the truth not just elevated in the sky, but really as human to human, because that's what we have the most difficulty with. Yeah, it's easy to have realizations, beautiful realizations. But then it becomes like to make it, the practices are all about to embody that, to live that as human beings, you and I, or, you know, sometimes you don't feel happy, sometimes you feel sad, or sometimes somebody says something that is not nice. How do you speak up? How do you stand up? How do you live with an open heart, even when it's really difficult? How do you be seen? And also, really, what does it mean to be there with one another? As this beautiful, I am with and this to each other and with each other. This is so important that we learn that we learn with the practices how to use everything, like everything, the messy and beautiful, as a way to deepen into true love. That is actually the way that will help us to grow the roots so strong that the tree gives many fruits into this world and with each other. So it's like a ship we created.
So you are saying that when we are together, the love sometimes puts us very, very near in some reflexes, and if love is strong, the wound is strong too in that moment, and we can learn something to actually understand better and understand better the moment that actually that is happening.
Yes.
And
I show you how to use the triggers, you know, the wounds that come, to bring that, to actually walk right through it together.
Mm-hmm.
In a way
and you
we will have even more intimacy and realness.
Okay, so it's normal when people love each other. Sometimes the fire puts the situation in a strong moment of conflict, and we will learn how to pass that process with the tools and understanding. It's not a thing that sometimes it's not about okay, we are not made for each other.
No.
Okay. And you are saying too that this work is open to single?
Yes.
And people of course, couples, women and men, and people that have relationships with the same gender.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it is what you said, you described it really well. You put it really simply together. It's also about how do we grow more love, allow more love, because often we are blocked inside. I bet everyone here has a place that love in, where you don't allow it, yeah? And so we learn to meet those places and soften them together, so that it is very, very loving and very respectful, that we can melt our barriers and be meeting each other. This is great.
This is Luca, our cat, is talking with Fabio. Okay, and
he can come.
A last question for you, Fabio. You feel that is important to resignificate the image of Jesus and Mary Magdalene?
Yes, please, absolutely. we definitely need to actually shift this, drop the false story, and bring the true story forth, because it is a story of the greatest love ever lived. And that is such an, because that shows it is possible to live in such great love, in true love.
And Fabio, what you feel that we need to humanize more these two person that live on the earth, because they have sometimes we can feel because of the religion and some connection to Catholicism that they are spiritual but that not human. What do you feel about this, Fabio? And the first question too about the resignification.
Well, for sure, they lived a great love, and they lived a great love in consciousness and in spiritual consciousness. And that's precisely what we want to find for our lives. So to make a history that and a history that sees spirituality without these is so poor, and it doesn't serve us. It doesn't serve us at all. Because we must come back. We must come back to this life, and we must live this life in spirit and in spiritual consciousness. And if there is an example of two very evolved beings that did it, and there is this story and this wisdom, it is precisely from where we want to drink it. And so we cannot keep this story apart from our spiritual path. We cannot keep doing this, because this is only serving those who understand spirituality out of life, and they do it also because they didn't understand yet the feminine, for example. So they must keep it out because they must control the situation. So just in the moment that you assume, just in the moment that those people and those men they understand themselves as men and they're masculine, and they realize it, they are ready to welcome the feminine completely, and also they are ready to come back to life, because that's what it means to marry. Also, the consciousness with the daily life is again a marriage between the masculine and the feminine. So this story is a story of the marriage of consciousness and the earth, consciousness and movement. And it is a story of the heart, because it is in the heart that these two, that heaven and earth meet. And so we need to bring back this story, because this is what will allow us to leave this task that we have as humanity to bring spirituality to earth, and to make it something approachable and simple again.
Yes, yeah, the word is simple, what you said, to make it approachable and simple for every person, and not to make it so elevated. It is deeply the Mary Magdalene and Yeshua united all the wisdom traditions too. It's like the red thread that pulses through every heart and through all the lands. It unites everything, and the message is really live it in daily life with each other. So we, like you said, we tap into the root source. And this story is the root source, brings us right to the root source. And from there, build capacity and learn the skill to live it in our day-to-day life as embodied love. And that is the task, and that is not as easy. And yet, when we're together, it's far easier, and we learn it together. together. And then, after the retreat, people will live it together, and therefore we have each other, which is what they also created, community.
I just wanted to say that there are two things that I think it is important in this story. At this moment, I see two things that are important to bring back this the love and the love relationship between a man and a woman to the center of spiritual life, and to see the spiritual life as a healing to that relationship, and that relationship as a healing to spiritual life as well. And also to see, and I think this is important in Portugal, because we have this tradition of seeing that if you are inspired by spiritual values and ethics, you are kind of weak. There is a connection between being weak and being moral and religious. And I think it is important also to see that Jesus Christ was a really strong man and a very great warrior, so great that he was really a king. And I think this is something important to bring nowadays again, that if we are inspired by the Spirit, if we have light inside our hearts, we must bring our voice to the world. We must make it action. We must live it. We must be. We must feel empowered to act and to take the power. Because if we have this in our hearts, if we have goodness, if we have light, if we have wisdom, we are. It is our right to do it, and we should. Because if we don't, it's the darkness that takes place. And he is an example of that, and we need to rescue these. And in Portugal, I think we need a lot this wisdom to make this resurrection of spirituality through Portugal. So I think these two things.
And there is an important piece, just to close this, because I know we need to end. Mary Magdalena, Yeshua, yes, the king, but she's the queen, and she has been for 2,000 years. The feminine voice has been so oppressed. She was called the whore, and this is very important in this work, that the feminine actually gets to have her voice heard, that she is seen, and that she is take her place where she belongs. She doesn't belong in the trash. She belongs and equal with Yeshua. And for that, the man also needs to not only take that power, but also start supporting the women to come forth with their voice. And the feminine needs to, at this point, very much rise up to her place, that she's both gentle and soft, but that she is also empowered and knows she has a right to be here.
Yes. And it's usual to know, and I totally agree with you in that part of emancipation of feminine, and just to share something quickly, we are usually I know more men. I know many sensitive men that have the difficulty to use the power. Mm-hmm. So it's why we need to resignificate the presence of Jesus here in the world, because we are just touching in that memory that Mary Magdalene was a whore, and Jesus was a kind man without yes. So we need to talk. We need to talk about this.
Her past, yet nothing in his pants.
Yes, we need to talk about this. And of course, we women, we are actually more activated to understand better why we need to emancipate ourselves and have a voice. And some sensitive men with so with a good and beautiful power inside, all the time they are hiding because they are they are confusing goodness with another thing. So but we will talk about this, I think, in your work about this.
We're going to dive into it when we
Yes.
that the feminine is more empowered in her true power, but also the master men are more empowered to, that we're both in our true strength and meet each other there in our truth, in our beauty, in our wholeness.
Yes.
To bring forth the gifts we have and really celebrate each other in that. So, and this will be very real instead of making it some other thing. We just meet each other right there and just how we are right now. So this will be a feast for the heart and the mind and the body, and every part of us as well.
Nicola, do you want to invite people to do this work? Do you want to create some invitation by your heart, with your heart, just to people when see this part of the live can just know where is it and why you are calling people?
Well, I want to invite everyone who feels called, who feels stirred in their heart that this resonates with them, to come to our first retreat here. I've taught this in many other places, but this is our first retreat after Sarah invited me to come together and do this work together, to step into true love together and learn how to live it with each other in the moments and ourselves, and take the hand of Mary Magdalene and Yeshua and this community that is growing here. I notice. And learn the way of love in real life. So it will be in Sintra, it will be in Ecosophia, and there's nature around us, there's horses, there's a way of having this sanctuary and the privacy for this deep work, and also the beauty that helps us to shine.
Thank you, Nicola. And Fabio, do you want to? You have a word to share about probably with men or probably with women too, about the importance of feel and connect with this work?
Well, I would like to first to say that I'm really grateful for this meeting and to everybody that has been here listening to us, and to say to Nicola that it was just a little bit this, but it was so rich and so poetic and so profound. It's really touching. I would really like just to hear from you, not all this time. And so I'm really looking forward to be with you in this work. And I want to say as well that we have met with Nicola just a few times, and sometimes it's not even me, just Sarah that is meeting her. But every time that there is a meeting, there is a transformation in my relationship with Sarah. We evolve. And so there is not just, it's not just words that are being spoken. There is an energy that is being carried that is transformative. And I'm sure about that because I the 3 times there were encounters in the last months, it was it were important moments for us. It really shifted something. It really changed something, and I'm quite aware that it's a power that is in the energy that Nicole is carrying and that she's carrying with this work. So I want to say that it's a very beautiful work and very poetic and very rich to hear, but there is also something more power working, and I know it. I'm quite sure of it. I'm experiencing it. And,
Thank you so much.
I want to invite every man and woman, of course, both, to join us and to make, so we can do a very beautiful work together.
Thank you. You touched me very much. Thank you. For me, this has been my life's work. So this is the walking of it, and I rejoice in what you just said. That it actually, the transmission comes through and activates things. That's the hidden magic. Those with eyes to see and ears to hear, let them hear.
Pedro, our friend, you know, Nicola, Pedro is saying, Nicola, it's pure magic.
Oh, thank you. I love
and thank you so much to you, Nicola, and thank you so much, Fabio, because for me this is a very magical and an important moment in my life, because I'm changing a lot, and having you in my life and having you, Nicola, in this, not only because you are my friend and we are living many things together, but in this specific moment you are bringing more meaning to the sacred that I want to live in my life. And I think we are more rich when we live the sacred, and we can just understand that sacred don't need to be something far away or that lives in the sky. We can live sacred here on the earth, and we can be human and sacred. And I think this is a very good opportunity to understand better this love, this story. And in my relationship, for me, it's the perfect medicine for this moment. So thank you for that. And if you are seeing this not in the live mode, please, if you need something, if you have any questions, please contact by email and info@raízdeportugal.com, info@raízdeportugal.com. And if you arrive now and you want to listen to all the conversation, you can go to the Instagram page of Reis de Portugal, and you can see since the beginning. And thank you a lot. It was a very, very good moment. And thank you everyone that appear here to send a kiss and to stay, to listen. Thank you so much, family, and we see in our path. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah and Fabio, and I am so grateful to everyone who's here. Thank you. Beijinhos.
Beijinhos, beijinhos. Obrigada. Obrigada a todos. Obrigada.
Obrigada.